Hello, it's George at Suprema. Today I'm going to be going over master and slave setup with some of our devices and a few live examples in our office. So let's get into the actual wiring of the device. So there are two ways that the master and slave setup can work with our devices. One is connecting a master device that can be any of our network connected readers to a slave device, which again can be any of our network connected readers or our slave readers. The other way is then to actually use a core station, so you have a master control board that is then connected to a lot of different slave readers. So if I go through the wiring, the wires to connect on these are very simple. It is just the data plus and data minus on the RS485 feed. That is just the yellow and blue wires. If you snip those off the connector at the end, it is always a good idea just to connect the ground to everything, so there should always be 3 wires connected at least, just because the ground negates signal interference and any other bad stuff that can happen with the board. With the D2s you can also connect the 12 volts to the core station, as the core station is rated up to 1.5 amps. As long as all the power withdrawal is below this, you can power it from the core station itself. You would connect red to red, TRX minus, which is yellow, to yellow, TRX plus, which is blue, to blue, and then the black and white, which is ground. As soon as that has been connected, that should be all the connections you need for the D2. That D2 can now be a slave to the core station, and any setup can be done over the network, the Ethernet connection at the very top of the core station. It is exactly the same, so if you have one of our network devices, so that you can see the Cat5 connection on here, there is also an RS485 feed on the wire bundle. As the power consumption just on, say, our LCD devices, as this is an X-Station 2, that would most likely be over the 1.5 amp limit for the core station, so we do always say to power any high powered devices separately, otherwise you'll have problems with power draw. That then connects exactly the same as the D2 device, so blue to blue, yellow to yellow, black to black. So with our high powered devices there will always be more than one ground, because you'll have the actual ground meant for the power cable and a ground specifically for the RS485. This is just so that you can connect the ground to both power and both RS485. Now those two devices are both connected, they should both be discoverable as a slave from the master of the core station. Within BioStar 2 you just go to the core station, right click the core station and then search slave device. That should then pop up 2 device lines of either of these. So the other setup you can do with these devices is to actually cut out the core station controller. Any of our devices that have a network connection can function as a master in this setup where the core station would be functioning. So if we were to actually just disconnect the RS485 from here and take the RS485 connection wires, if you were to just wire them like to like, so yellow to yellow, blue to blue, black to black, as long as they are connected together, they will be able to communicate. As long as this device is network connected, you can use this device to search for slave devices. So you right click, search slave device, that D2 should appear under the X station. So let's go look at the core station example on our live site. So let's go through the live core station example. The X-Station 2 that's connected down in the server room is connected to the TRX plus, TRX minus and ground. The maglock at the top of the door is then connected to the normally closed and the common, and then the exit button is then connected to input -2 and input +2. And then let's go down and see the X-Station 2 installation. So this X-Station 2 is connected directly to the core station that we saw earlier. You can see up at the very top just that it has the RS485 connection and not the network. When you do a fingerprint match, it then sends the data back to the core station over the slave and then opens the door. The exit button at the back of the door is then connected here, and then you have the maglock up here that's connected to the relay. So then with our last setup, this is a fully standalone RS485 setup. So the W2 is connected to the network, and then the A2 is then connected over RS485 to the W2, so that when you authenticate, the W2 is doing all the matching and fires the relay, and then the A2 is just sending all the information back to the W2. So I've been George at Suprema. That's been me going over some master and slave setup with our devices. Thanks for watching.